Hey everyone, JonFly here. This is JonFly versus episode 12. We are here again. Thank you for joining me. I do news in the flight simulation genre and also some miscellaneous news, whether it be current events or hardware out there that piques my interest. So, hope you guys are enjoying this. I'll try to keep these little newsreels under 10 minutes, but hopefully it's something that provides some education and or accidental entertainment into your daily YouTubing. First off, X Organizer is a tool that I've been using for a long time, and they just recently came out with an update, and I just wanted to talk about X Organizer for those that potentially have not seen it or are utilizing it. It is for the X-Plane 11 or any version of X-Plane simulators. It helps you keep everything organized, and I really enjoy it. So I just wanted to talk about a few things on that front. I'll just go ahead and show it on the screen here. Right here on my X Organizer, you can see there's several tabs here. This is a scenery where you can disable, enable, and order and optimize your scenery rotation. You also have a plugins tab. So for example, if I want to run, live traffic on my air traffic control, or if I want to enable or disable active sky, etc. Let's say I want to disable Navigraph or XPU IPC for whatever reason. I got a lot of functionality here. If I wanted to disable FS Economy, I can disable Lewis scripts, etc. It's very handy, but more importantly, sometimes you have too many plugins that you're using. So I go in here and I disable plugins based on what I'm doing. So for example, if I'm doing a Smart Copilot flight, I will highlight or toggle or enable Smart Copilot. But if I'm flying, for example, a general aviation aircraft such as a Skyhawk or a Piper aircraft, I don't necessarily need the Git plugin that has my MCP hardware for my Boeing jets. So I may disable that to save on resources, etc. So that is very handy. The other thing that I do is I manage my airports here on the Scenery Airports tab. I can see if I have duplicates, and I can see the order of airports, etc. It's very handy. And then, of course, we come over here to the Scenery Coverage tab. And, for example, I can click on North America, and I can say, oh, show me all of the ortho photo that I have in the States right now. So I go ahead and click on Ortho North America. I enable it. It's collecting the tiles of 823 packages. Then I have a detailed map showing where I have ortho photo satellite imagery in the United States. If I want to tile Mexico, I know where to start, for example, and or Canada. Same thing with Europe. So if I go over here to Europe and I bring up Europe, I know here that I use True Earth for a lot of the UK, the United Kingdom. So if I come over here to Europe, you can see it's blank until I toggle that. It reads all of the ortho photo that I have for Europe. And it shows me, oh, maybe I need to generate some ortho photo for certain parts of Europe. So I know, okay, I should probably tile Poland, for example, because I'm right there at the edge. Also, you can see here that the United Kingdom is blank, and that's because I run Orbex. So in order to get Orbex to show up, that is in another area. So we have here Orbex regional scenery. If I toggle that, then that will come in as the map for north, south, and central, and you can see it's a different color for the True Earth. So it's very handy in that regard. Highly recommend X Organizer. I'll leave a link in the description below on where you can get it. It's a very inexpensive price for the payware model. I do believe they still have a trial version. It's not as full featured and several versions behind. So encourage you to check that out for your X-Plane usage. Next thing I wanted to talk about was Prepared. Lockheed Martin came out with, PMDG came out with a little bit of a status update on their aircraft. They are the flagship developers in flight simulation, in my opinion. And they came out with an update where they focused on details of their development on the 747, 737, and a few other items. They talked about new wing and tail structure physics, new lift and drag models, updated performance with the Gen X engine types, and also they talked about how they're updating ground physics, braking physics, many other bug fixes and improvements. I'm really excited about this. They also commented on the Prepared V5. We're all anticipating PMDG releasing their P3D V5 installers. That update will receive exterior, interior, new updates, textures. The EFB is going to get an update to accommodate the new P3D V5 scenery structure. Here's where it was a little bit of a letdown. Apparently, they're going to focus on the 747 before they focus on the NGXU. So with that being said, I don't know if the installers are going to come out at the same time, or if they're going to go ahead and release the 747 Queen of the Skies first for P3D V5. But the fact that they use the language that once the 747 update has been released, the team will start focusing on the NGXU. Well, I have a bit of bias. My favorite aircraft in the simulator of P3D is the NGXU, so kind of wish that was first. But hey, it's nice to get an update from PMDG and Mr. Robert Randazzo himself. They also talked about BBJ expansion and also cargo variants that are coming for the NGXU. So that will be fun to play around, and I will be a day one customer, a day one purchase for me. Last thing I wanted to talk about was CPUs, in particular Intel CPUs. Intel has announced their 10th generation CPU lineup. They're not available yet for purchase, but coming soon, later this month. I know that a lot of people are receiving review motherboards. And speaking of motherboards, if you're going to go to this 10th generation of Intel CPU, you have to change your motherboard. You have to go to a Z490 motherboard. All of your major providers, Asus, Gigabyte, MSI, ASRock, you name it, they're all going to be in there with the Z490 offerings. And then there's going to be a range of CPUs. I'm a little bit surprised that they are still on the 14 nanometer technology, whereas the AMD CPUs are using 7 nanometer technology, which basically means you can fit more. But the performance, we all know that Intel is great, especially when it comes to flight simulation. It being mostly a single-threaded situation. The new CPUs, there are no benchmarks available yet. All the people that are reviewing and showing these CPUs can't talk about any of the benchmarking. They can't even show like an idle temperature of the CPU on these YouTube videos that we're all on the lookout for. But know in the very future that we're going to see some benchmarking. And I have a feeling that if you're into X-Plane or P3D, you'll be very happy with a 10th gen CPU. The price is going to be a little bit more than AMD. Maybe in some cases, equivalent performance will be $50 to $100 higher in price. It all depends. They haven't shown the public pricing for these new Intel CPUs. They've only shown the pricing if you bought 1,000 of them. Someone said that if you take the 1,000 unit price and you add 10%, that's what you may see as a public retail price. I don't know. But it's fascinating to see the competition between AMD and Intel. You guys know I'm a big AMD fan, as I'm showcasing my Ryzen 9 3900X right there in the background. Very happy with the performance. I'll go ahead and show you a chart of CPU benchmarks that are current today. This is one of my favorite YouTube channels is Gamers Nexus. This is courtesy of them. This is a chart utilizing the PC game Red Dead Redemption 2. This is a 1080p resolution, And as you can see here, the top of the chart is the i9 9900K 8-core 16-thread stock processor. But if you go all the way over to the right, you see the frame rate. The average frame rate is 151.8. So if we go down to my AMD Ryzen 9 3900X, which is a 12-core 24-thread processor stock, we see that the average frame rate is 136.2. So right here, you see that there, and go ahead and divide that frame rate by 10. So what we're talking about is the difference between 13 and 15. But yet for the i9 9900K, I think you're paying upwards of $80 to $100 or more for the same CPU. We also know that the AMD Ryzen 9 3900X is much better at other things besides gaming. But it's interesting to see that the i9 here is on the top of the chart. It'll be very fascinating to see where the i9 10th gen comes in on this chart. One thing to notice here is the i7 8700K and also the i7 9700K are still premier gaming CPUs. So if you're in the Intel market and you want to save a few dollars, you may want to go for a 9700K or an 8700K. And as you can see, all the way down to the i7 7700K, still not that bad with regard to average frame rate in Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, Red Dead Redemption 2 is not a flight simulator, but I think this gives us a ballpark. In fact, I would go as far as to say that any CPU on this list will run X-Plane and P3D just fine. It's just a matter of tailoring back or customing back, bringing back your settings to some degree. So, very fascinating stuff. Thank you, Gamers Nexus, for the awesome benchmarking. Check out their site. I'll leave a link to their program in the show notes below. So, there we go. JonFly versus episode 12. We went a little bit longer today. I apologize. Violation. Please come join me on my Twitch live stream, twitch.tv/JonFly. I fly 3 or 4 times a week. We fly anything from a small 4-seater Cessna Skyhawk 172 all the way up to a 747 and in between. We have a good time live. Also, check out my Discord. You can get an invite to the Discord, discord.gg/JonFly, JonFly. We will see you very soon in episode 13 of JonFly Versus. Happy simming, happy flying, and take care, everyone. Good night.